Welcome to the Redlands Coast Business Show, a naturally wonderful place to live and a great place to do business. Featuring local business successes and visionaries, bringing tips, tricks and inspiration to you. The podcast that embraces your local business community. And here's your host, Tony Curl.
Hey there, it's Tony Curl here, and welcome to episode 31 of the Redlands Coast Business Show. Now, we haven't had an interview episode for a while, and what better time to bring you the latest interview with one of Redlands' rising businesses than the week of the Redlands Coast Business Excellence. It's my pleasure to share with you Meagan Rashleigh from Release Health and Wellness. Now, Meagan is a successful trauma release therapist. She's a businesswoman, a wife, and a mother of two. She has a Bachelor Degree in Health Science and is qualified in Acupuncture, Vibrational Medicine, Holistic Counselling, and traditional Chinese medicine massage, and takes a multidisciplinary approach to the treatment of pain and trauma. For the past 10 years, Meagan has run her own health and wellness clinic to safely and effectively get her patients out of pain and back to health. Now, driven by her own history of debilitating pain, her diverse training makes her the person that she is today. Meagan lives how she treats. Meagan is incredibly unique, so I want you to sit back, open your mind, and become very much aware of a different way to see through your pain. So after a word from our sponsor, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Meagan Rashleigh to the Redlands Coast Business Show.
The Redlands Coast Business Show is proudly sponsored by Think and Grow Business, unlocking the potential and performance of people and businesses. Individual and group coaching and masterminds that help you grow your business. Book your free discovery call today at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au.
And it's my pleasure to welcome to the Redlands Coast Business Show, we have Meagan Rashleigh from Release Health and Wellness Clinic. How are you, Meagan?
I'm very well, and you?
I am fantastic. Now, it's an exciting week here in the Redlands. We're interviewing the week of the business awards, of which Release Health and Wellness Clinic are one of the finalists. Congratulations. So, Meagan, share a little bit about your business. Tell me about your business.
I started the business to teach people how to free themselves from pain. Once you give people the right techniques to how to release their pain, their whole life turns around. So they are able to enjoy their life, and it turns into endless possibilities instead of just survive it. Because pain can be just excruciating when you live with it.
Yeah. And so what are some of the techniques you use that release people's pain?
I do techniques like acupuncture, kinesiology, energy work. I also teach people how to reframe their mind to understand why their body actually created the pain in the first place. So our body is phenomenally gifted, and it has muscle memory. Yeah. So when we have trauma and at that stage we are unable to deal with it or process it, our bodies store it. When that trauma is not dealt with, our body creates pain. So like a headache or back pain or neck pain or sore feet. And it's screaming at us to let us know that we have unresolved issues. Okay. A lot of us just avoid it and take painkillers.
Yeah, or utilize other certain methods of coping, like drinking far too much on weekends and whatnot, I would imagine is part of that process as well. So the body stores pain through trauma that we're not acknowledging. Have I got that right, Meagan?
Yes. So if you've had, for example, abuse. So for me, I experienced sexual abuse when I was a child, and my body stored it, and I had horrendous stomach pain, and my body was aching. So the medical realm called it fibromyalgia. So everything hurt. So once I started to actually acknowledge the trauma, my pain started to decrease. And
Oh, wow.
Yes,
wow.
It's phenomenal. When I worked it out, it was phenomenal because I went everywhere.
Yeah. I can imagine that a lot of people would have a process within themselves that actually tries to like build a wall around that trauma, for want of another word, and suppress it. So, as part of your techniques, is it something that you get people to talk through or to acknowledge, or what if someone has suppressed this trauma and they're in pain? And so, what is that? How do you then draw that out?
So the story is 10% of the process. So what happens is our brain makes up a story that it can handle. But
Yep.
what the body has experienced, I usually times it by 1,000 to 10. Because
Wow.
what your body has actually gone through is horrendous. And what we do is we break it down and we work out the core. So what has actually hurt you? Is it the word? Is it the humiliation? Is it the pain? And once we pinpoint that, then we empower the person. So we teach them how to get their power back from it being taken away.
Wow, wow. And you've got other services there as well, don't you? Your acupuncture is one of those services
Yes.
you provide?
So we utilize acupuncture in the sense of helping to calm the person down, to be
Yeah.
able to connect into the trauma. I also use acupuncture in a sense of releasing the pain. So if it's that excruciating, so if you've got neck pain or back pain and it is hurting 24/7 and you can't work, then we use acupuncture to decrease that pain so we can actually go in and find the cause.
Wow. How long have you been in business?
Over a decade.
Oh, truly?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. And what was the compelling reason? And you spoke a little bit about your own trauma, but is that the compelling reason why you got into this?
Yes. So, as I mentioned before, I was sexually abused as a child. When I was looking for pain relief, I went everywhere.
Yeah.
So, every person promised me the world, and it felt like they gave me coal. So, everything that helped just a little bit,
Yeah.
I learned. So, when somebody walks through my door and they are suffering, I can give them every tool that they need. So, at 2 o'clock in the morning, when they're tumbled over in pain, they have skills to be able to survive. Because they can't ring me at 2 o'clock in the morning to help them through it.
Yeah. So it sounds like a very holistic overall approach.
Yeah, it's a very different way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's empowering the client to their own healing instead of making the practitioner the person that has the answers. We don't. The clients have all the answers. We just teach them how to unlock their box.
Sounds very much like what coaches do ultimately. So a coach is very much coaching in the truest sense of the word, or the mastery of coaching is all about unlocking the greatness within the people. It's not about telling them or advising them or guiding them or mentoring them in many, many ways. It's about getting curious in relation to what's inside the person and unlocking and unleashing that. So it sounds like you follow a very, very similar process in relation with your clients.
Absolutely. So within dealing with people's pain, we go in, we work out the cause, we work out what they have taken from the actual situation, because people observe it all differently. So if you have 10 people in a room and you
Yeah.
have one incident, everybody will have their own take on that incident. Everyone's pain will be different. So some people will have stomach pain, some people will have back pain, some people will have shoulder pain, some people will have headaches. If you
Yeah.
sit each person down and ask them where and why they experienced that trauma, everybody will have a different take. So everyone has seen the movie different. So what we have to do is work out what is their pinpoint. So what is their emotional need that they wanted. So it may have been their father that hit their mother, and they may have wanted daddy to acknowledge them.
Yeah.
So their pain came from not being acknowledged. Another person's pain might have been coming from they just wanted their parents to stop screaming. So their pain came from covering their ears, so they may have ear pain.
Okay.
So it's very complex.
Yeah,
People's
it is.
pains are extremely complex. Yeah.
Yeah. And very personal. So do you just work with individuals, or do you have the ability to work with groups?
No, I can work with groups. It's more compounded, so people are able to feel each other's energies when you work in a group.
Yeah.
So someone will go through a process, and when you watch that process, you begin to heal because some of their pain will be yours.
Yeah.
Like attracts like. So when you go into a group situation, everybody's healing will be similar. Everyone's situation will be very different though. So
Gotcha.
it's beautifully compounded.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, as you're talking and as you're talking through trauma and whatnot, I had a situation in my corporate career where we, as the complex manager, me and my team were rebuilding after the flooding in Brisbane in 2011. We had to rebuild the Bunnings store at Rocklea, and it was a really interesting time, and there was so much reflection from myself as a leader in that particular stage. And, we had an amazing amount of wins and an amazing amount of success in making sure that our team were together and stayed together. And it was, there's a lot of stuff that, you can sit back and think, yeah, we did that pretty well. But there was a couple of things that just didn't go as well as what you'd envisaged. And some of that was, we had some of my leadership team coming back into work, and part of what they had personally experienced with the flooding in Brisbane at that particular time, they'd personally been flooded, and they'd lost housing, they'd lost furniture, they had these personal impacts. And while they were working through, insurances and whatnot, they felt they actually had that in hand. What ultimately came to play probably 3 months after, and I found this really, really interesting, is that fundamentally they probably should have not come to work. So they came to work thinking that they were getting away from their dramas and their situation, and that would take care of itself, which it ultimately did. But what we saw in, the 3 to 6 month period after doing that, we saw all this pain and anguish and anxiety start to surface. So during that time where they were part of the team, and that there was this real purpose around getting the store rebuilt, and it was, there was energy, there was people were tapping into it, there was, the adrenaline. We found that people got into that, but then once we'd reopened the store and returned to some sense of normality, it was like there were waves and waves of personal trauma that affected, it was only a very small minority. There was probably 3 people in my team that it affected, but so the return to normality really sort of then opened up, well, my God, my personal situation, I'm still waiting for, the bank to get back to me. I'm still waiting for the insurance to come through. I haven't got a builder. I'm still living at the mother-in-law's in the lounge room with 3 kids, So all of a sudden, all of those personal traumas started to really impact some of the team. And as you're talking through what it is that you're doing, maybe having that skill set to be able to work within that corporate space would have picked that up 3 months before we actually saw the external signs. So is that part of your business model, working with teams that have been through some level of trauma from a business perspective?
Absolutely. So within a corporate situation, what would have happened is I would have gone in, we would have sat with the leaders of your team, and we would have broken it down. So we would have asked what their personal situation was and where their stress was heading and how they felt. What then would have happened is we would have empowered them in the situation that they have.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a loss situation, you have no power, so you feel helpless. And what happens is depression is created. So we have to give them power where we can. So every situation that feels die straight and like they have no control, we turn it. So we teach them where their control can be, and where they can recreate their world. Yeah. So in their personal life, did they really want to live there? Did they really want their house like that? You know, is the universe trying to teach you how to simplify it and enjoy what you have, not what you've got? Within work, it's about learning to have relationship with people and being present, instead of doing the grind of what the big corporation is trying to achieve. Because when you are present with a client, even in a corporation or anything, you'll actually get more from them. So if you're connecting with the customer that's walking in, instead of thinking about what you've lost and what you don't have, you'll actually become a better seller. Because it's about dropping your stuff at the door. That's a technique that you have to learn. It's not something that we're given these days.
So that empowerment of people is one thing that, you know, we really took away from that, because while those people, those three affected people, really wanted to be part of the rebuild, for them, when we sat back and with reflection and deep insight, we realised that for them it was a distraction for them to get back, have a sense of purpose around rebuilding the store, which, you know, fundamentally the store was being rebuilt with a much greater range of resources than what was going to be available to them in within their private situation. So we found that they loved being part of the rebuild because it was a distraction to them and not an acknowledgement of their current private situation. So, and ultimately what, you know, and once again, hindsight's an amazing thing. We probably should have been a little bit firmer as a leadership group and just said, hey, you're personally affected. We're happy to support you in any way, shape or form, but you really need to be in the area that's most important to you. And ultimately that wasn't rebuilding a Bunnings store. It was more important for them to really make sure that their own personal stuff was in a place where they could feel really, really comfy. So interesting. As I said, lots of reflections from that particular time. And as a leader for myself, and yes, we had amazing success and we did kick some amazing goals, and my team was just 100% phenomenal. But when we sit back and we think about particularly those three, there were certainly some things we could have done better.
I'll just stop you there for a moment. I think what you did was absolutely phenomenal. You gave those three people purpose when theirs was taken away.
Yeah.
You gave them something to strive for when they felt lost. So your business gave them passion. So you probably stopped or helped them not go into depression.
Yeah.
So in essence, you probably were their saving grace.
And in many ways, that's the feedback that we were getting as we were doing our check-ins with them, was, you know, as our rebuild commenced. And it was, you know, the commentary around, you're giving me something, this gives me something to do, this gives me something to think about. There's not much happening in the personal space. So we were being validated, I guess, along the way, along the journey. But by the same token, I would have, if there was a way that I could have reduced that anxiety for them once things, for us, return back to normal for the business, that's probably the big learning for me. How could I have done that better? So let me ask you a question now. So were there times in your journey that you felt that you were failing?
Oh, geez. You fail every day. So I don't know about anyone else, but I feel like when you book a client in and they don't want to come back, Or you have a client in, like last Saturday, I got my nanny to come at 5:30 in the morning, and I had a 6 o'clock client that decided not to show up.
Wow.
You feel like you are in the wrong profession. You lose your confidence and you think, what the hell am I doing? So most days I feel like that, because when you run your own business, you step out of your comfort zone every day and you give it a go. And sometimes it works and you pull it off beautifully, and sometimes it does not. So what I have learned is if you fail, you learn so much about yourself and you learn so much about your business.
Yeah.
So failing in business, a lot of people are afraid of it. Don't be. Feel empowered by it, because what happens is you learn so much about yourself, and the next time you try something, you've actually got those tools in the kit now, because you know so much how not to do something. And on the other hand, you have so much more information to do something else.
Absolutely, good answer. What's the most challenging thing in your business career that you've encountered?
Changing people's mindset is one of my biggest.
Yeah.
So with pain, we have to change the way they think of it. We have to change the way that they view it. A lot of people that walk through my door are quite stuck, and they have been told most of the time that they have to get used to living with what they're suffering with.
Yeah.
So my biggest challenge every day is teaching them how to change their mindset. If you can change your thinking and the way that you view the pain that you are suffering, you have a million possibilities that you can create. You can create a new identity if you choose to. You can shift your pain in a moment. Though changing that mindset sounds simple, though it's challenging, and that's where people get stuck. So my biggest challenge in this life is changing people's mindsets, though it is my biggest reward when it happens.
Absolutely. We'll shift focus a little bit now, Meagan, and I know you're involved in a couple of really good networking groups, which is fantastic. So, and I've got no doubt that you've been quizzed about many business bits of advice from other people. So what's a common myth that you see with people who want to start a business?
That you don't get time. So I can remember sitting at a barbecue and everybody worked out I was starting my own business, and the general consensus around the table was, you are so lucky. And I sat there and I'm like, you guys have no fucking idea what a business is.
Yeah.
Because if they take holidays, they get paid. If they take a sickie, they get paid. When you run your own business, you have to be very careful of exhaustion. Because if you take a sick day, we do not get paid. If we take a holiday, we do not get paid. So one of the biggest myths I find about business is you get time to yourself. You do not. You have to really watch exhaustion.
Yeah, very much so. And you end up you leave the corporate world, and mainly a lot of people leave the corporate world because they've had a bad boss. And then you go work for yourself and you realise that your new boss is just as bad as the old boss.
It gives you less
sometimes
breaks.
Worse. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That self-leadership and discipline that you need in your own business is just a step above to what most people have in their corporate careers. So what are some of the common reasons why you see businesses fail, do you think?
They burn themselves out.
Yeah?
Is most of the time when they walk through my door. So they burn the candles at both ends. They feel guilty for taking a break because money's not coming in. Their families sacrifice, so they put everything into the business and they've got nothing left at home. So for me, burnout is one of the main things why businesses fail.
Do you see business owners have this absolutely inability to ask for help when they need it? So in whether it's burnout or whether it's cash flow issues or marketing problems, do you often see that with your client base, that they're really unable to ask for help?
Absolutely. Pride's a killer, eh?
Yeah, it is.
So a lot of people think if my next door neighbour can do it or the businesses down the road can do it, so should I.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realise is the people that are successful have a support network. So if you sit down and actually speak to them, they go to an acupuncturist every week.
Yeah.
They may go to a chiropractor. They may have somebody to talk to with their struggles.
Yeah.
The people that I see fail don't.
Yeah.
It's me, myself and I, and unfortunately in this day and age, the mental load that people have within their business, they need to create that support team.
Absolutely. You need good people around you with complementary skills.
Absolutely.
And that helps us all. So what's the vision for your business going forward? So where do you see it driving over the next 12 months? And then what is your ultimate vision?
So what I'm working towards is workshops and programs on a broader scale for the community. So I'm hoping to show people the possibilities that they're actually capable of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So online workshops?
Yes, I'm working towards that, but more in person as well.
Excellent.
So speaking engagements, going into corporate programs.
Yeah.
I was discussing with a mental health nurse about working on going into corporate situations and teaching the staff the bullying and how to get their head around working with different and diverse personalities.
Yeah, yeah. Health and wellness is a really big thing in the corporate space as we speak, as we're going through obviously the continuation of the pandemic. It just is front and center. So many leaders are losing confidence in their ability to be a leader. We need leaders to have really good confidence in themselves, but also be calm during a crisis without the need to bluster or bullshit our way through. It really is about acknowledging what's going on around us and still trying to be the best leader that we can for ourselves and for our team. So health and wellness and having those strategies where people can create that, what I would call stillness of our mind, is a really important thing, and it's just going to continue to get bigger. So if that's part of your business model moving forward, I can't stress strongly enough that that's a really good place to be, I think, because that's going to help so many people. So
that's the plan.
So tell me about the Redlands Coast. Why is the Redlands Coast the place for you?
I moved to the Redlands Coast for Family Festa. It's beautiful. It is so warming and inviting, and when you walk down the street, people smile. You don't get that at very many places in Brisbane.
Yeah.
I used to live in the city and work in the city before coming out here, and I can remember walking and a lady said hello, and it was so refreshing. The community has such a family feeling.
Yeah.
It supports each other, even going to the networking events. Everyone is there to lend a hand. I feel very lucky and privileged to be able to have a business in the Redlands. I think it's the place to be, and I think it's very up and coming.
Excellent. So in a perfect world, what would be on your wish list to help support the growth of business on the Redlands Coast?
I just really want to be able to be there to help and support people and the community.
Yeah.
I want them to feel empowered, like they can conquer anything. I want them to feel like they've got their own back and they can support themselves, and when they feel uncomfortable or unsafe, they can speak up. I want to teach people how to have their own voice and not be afraid to use it.
Excellent. Excellent. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that I should have asked you, Meagan?
when is the best place to start on your healing journey?
Yeah, that's a good one. So when is the best place to start on your healing journey?
Right now. As soon as you feel like that you can't do it, or things are getting you down, or you second guess yourself, jump on the internet and find somebody that speaks to you.
Yeah.
And call. Because getting support is one of the best things that you can do to better yourself in this world.
Yeah. Excellent response. How can people connect with you?
They can call me on 04 06 6 888 32. They can go to my website, which is www.releasewellness.com.au, or they can email me at Meagan, MEAGAN, at release, RELEASE, wellness, WELLNESS.com.au.
Awesome. And I will have those in the show notes for anyone that's interested. Meagan, it's been a pleasure having you on the Redlands Coast Business Show. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to seeing you succeed at this Saturday's Redlands Coast Business Excellence Award, as well as obviously for you to capture the vision for your business.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Now, Meagan is certainly unique in the way that she works with her clients, and she's certainly making a mark here in the Redlands with her methods and particularly her story. Being in business for over a decade and finding her way in which she helps shift and support people. I know Meagan herself would say she isn't everyone's cup of tea, but her growing reputation is a testament to how she helps and how she works with people. She is a finalist in the Redlands Coast Business Excellence Awards, and of course we wish her the very best. Speaking of finalists, I'm really proud to say that two of the graduates from the Better Business Workshop that I facilitate with TAFE Small Business Solutions are also finalists in the award. Congratulations to Meagan Neary from Golden Child Beauty and Jenny Matthews from Bayside Voice Centre. We are wishing all finalists good luck, but especially Meagan and Jenny. We've got one more workshop for the Better Business Workshop to complete for this year, 2021. And this will be the final one in this current format, as next year brings a new qualification and a different format. So we know how successful the current format is, and with the shift in the qualifications, that's going to change that approach. Or if you really want an opportunity to refresh your business plan, contact me today at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au and let's have a chat around how the Better Business Workshop can work for your business. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Redlands Coast Business Show. I hope you found it valuable and that you've taken key points that will help you in your business journey. Now, if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast or know someone who would be a great guest, simply go to redlandscoastbusiness.com.au and connect with us there. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified of our next episode when again we will chat with another great Redlands Coast business. This is Tony Curl. I'll see you then. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Redlands Coast Business Show. We hope you found it a valuable resource for you and your business journey. Tune in next time for more local business stories. We'll see you then.